Have you ever looked in the mirror while putting your makeup on and thought, wow, my nose is absolutely ridiculous. Why does my nose have that weird bump on it? Should I contour it? Would it cover it up? What if I just wore a face mask and nobody could see? Why can't my nose just shrink overnight? I literally am sitting here looking like the Wicked Witch of the West. Well, I've thought a bunch of different things about my nose over the years, and I think I can say that we've all been there. With today's beauty standards being shoved in our faces through all sorts of media sources, it is so hard not to look in the mirror and say, I wish I could just have a nose like Bella Hadid, Kendall Jenner, Cindy Wolfie, or even Barbie. Well, good news for us that Bella Hadid doesn't even have a nose like Bella Hadid. It's called a rhinoplasty. Today, I want to discuss the good, the bad, and the ugly of a nose job. Now, everybody, let's buckle up because this is going to be a rough one. Surgical rhinoplasties, aka nose jobs, are one of the most popular cosmetic surgeries with over 1.1 million procedures in 2023 alone. This is partially due to the fact that our noses are smack dab in the middle of our faces, and some people believe that their own noses are just too big of a flaw to ignore. But also because of the fact that small noses have been known as a feature of beauty for decades. Whether it's cartoons, movies, Bratz dolls, Barbies, Disney princesses, all of the characters from Sailor Moon. I loved that show. I mean, in the intro, we mentioned a Barbie nose. I know she's a plastic doll, but ever since the creation of the Barbie doll back in 1959, she has always had this tiny plastic, non-existent button nose. Not a bulbous nose, not a hook nose, not a nose with a bump on it, a little non-existent, teeny tiny nose made of plastic. And these nose beauty standards don't just date back decades, but actually centuries. The first known scriptures detailing nose reshaping processes date all the way back to 1550 BC in Egypt, if you can even believe that, sharing methods on how to repair and reshape the nose. Later on through the years, there would be plenty of developments using skin grafts to be able to reshape the nose, using ear cartilage, as well as learning reconstructive surgeries for injuries. But in the 18th and 19th centuries, the rhinoplasty was constantly being perfected as the shape of your nose determined your perceived beauty as well as social standing. Maybe you're sitting over there hating on your nose when the reality is the type of nose you have says so much about your ancestry and your perceived social status. At least way back in the day. Now I don't know if your nose has much to do about your social status other than the fact that you can afford a rhinoplasty. We'll get to that. Do you have something known as a Greek nose with a really straight bridge that reminds us of Greek sculptures? This nose shape is associated with people with Greek, Roman, and Mediterranean backgrounds. Or a Roman, also known as aquiline nose with a really curved bridge, which is associated with strength and elegance. Or maybe you have a Nubian nose, found commonly within African cultures or hotter climates that have a really beautiful, distinctive rounded tip. There are so many incredible nose shapes, and they are specifically given to us because of our ancestors, of course, but it actually originally was all based on climate. Our noses condition the air that we breathe to make sure that it is warm by the time that it reaches our lungs. It was discovered in the 1800s that long, thin noses would typically occur in colder and drier regions. That's because the air would have been specifically tough on our lungs, whereas shorter and wider noses were more typically found in hotter and humid areas. Like, we have to remember through all of this and the beauty standards that our noses, at the end of the day, serve a real purpose for sniffing things. As fascinating and as beautiful as this information is, I actually know how it feels to live in 2024, where the glorification and boom of plastic surgery is at an all-time high, where people will literally change their entire faces to either look like one specific girl or even a Barbie doll. Hence the Barbie nose trend. The Barbie nose. See, now she's using filler here, and we're gonna get to how dangerous and terrifying that is, but she literally made that nose with liquid. But why are we doing the Barbie nose? Why does everybody want to have a plastic doll's nose? We're not dolls. We're people.
Perhaps one of the most requested and talked about noses among all of my patients, the beautiful Cindy Wolfie. She has a gorgeous nose, a deep inset radix, a very smooth dorsum leading into a beautiful super tip break, sleek symmetric dorsal aesthetic lines with a thin mid-nasal vault. She has a beautifully refined tip, great nasal tip elevation at around 107. It just works with the rest of her facial features. Really refined nose, beautiful nose for Cindy.
This man is a connoisseur of noses. And obviously, as you guys can tell, this wasn't Cindy's nose either. She was given this nose. She paid for this nose. And the reality is people are paying thousands for this specific nose.
I want this nose.
He wants this nose.
I need this nose.
He needs Cindy's
nose. I would pay to have this nose. Oh, shit. I already have it.
I have never been like, give me that and put it on me. Like, no matter what it is, even if it's a set of eyeballs, even if it's a set of I've never asked for somebody else's on my body. She did it too. We all been new. Haha. We just needed to know her surgeon. How much was it? I'm trying to save up for one. This one was 15,000 euros. Okay, hold on a minute. It seems like you can't go on social media for longer than 5 seconds without seeing these types of videos, this type of content, which only makes the insecurity about your natural nose grow larger. Like, bro, the bump on my nose is ridiculous. Like, I know it's okay here, but you know, we all have insecurities. Like, do I need to get my bump removed? Should I be trying to look like a Barbie? There also became this massive trend where girls were literally getting a lifted tip. And this video had me shocked. Me panicking because my nose looked piggy 7 days after surgery. What is that tip? What is that tip? What is that Pinocchio tip? I don't know why that makes me so nervous, because I don't know what surgical process they have to put you through to give you like a pyramid tip on your nose. Way too pointy. Ah, I didn't say it. Are you ready for the change? Crazy. I want a nose job so bad. Before pretty, after even more prettier. Amazing. It's just people that are tooting up this entire procedure. They just, not only are you watching videos where you're very infatuated with these results, that you want those same results for yourself. It's like addicting. You kind of just are like, give me that.
Give me that.
I want this nose. I need this nose. I would pay to have this nose. Oh, shit. I already have it.
See, I didn't even notice her first nose. I didn't think there was anything wrong with her first nose, her OG nose, her natural nose. But now it's like, why am I getting fixated on noses when I have never, like, in all honesty, I've never noticed someone's nose, only my own. And it doesn't help that it seems like every single frickin' celebrity line down the block has the most perfect nose. Blake Lively, Kendall Jenner, Jennifer Lawrence, Khloe Kardashian, Ariana Grande, Britney Spears, Lady Gaga, Kim Kardashian, Kylie Jenner, Megan Fox, Lana Del Rey, all nose jobs, all of them. And you'd never know that they got their noses done unless you actually paid attention or you looked closely. And these people are in the public eye, and their somewhat natural perceived beauty can sometimes make us feel a little ordinary or even a little inferior, especially when they're not actually honest about their cosmetic procedures to begin with. Like, why is my nose not naturally perfect? But at the end of the day, do not ever feel inferior, because like I said, it is all plastic surgery. I'm so sorry. I found this video last night when I was like scrolling on my phone, and I had to include it. It is the perfect example of how all of you are lying to us.
If you look at my lips now, like right now, and you look at a photo of me from when I was 12, they look the exact same. So.
What's up, Celeb Secrets for You? I'm Madison Beer. Thank you for watching.
Yeah, you don't have to lie. Like, you don't have to lie about it. We can tell the truth. Probably a lip flip. Does she think we were born yesterday? Why can't people just admit it? There's literally pictures of her at the clinic. Like, why lie about it? Now, see, we're not ugly. We're just not paying hundreds of thousands of dollars on plastic surgery. Celebrities and social media baddies that all end up looking the exact same because they've all gotten the same plastic surgery procedures done. They created this new beauty standard, and they make us feel like we have to sit around here and spend thousands just to have a plastic face like them when we don't. And the normalization of nose jobs over the years is absolutely insane. Do you remember in the movie Clueless when all of the background actors had bandages on their noses? Like, why? It's surprising how popular this procedure is and how many women will go under the knife knowing full well how intense and extreme this plastic surgery is. To not get too deep into the science of it, there are two simple types of rhinoplasties: an open rhinoplasty and a closed one. One where they cut your nose and pull the nose skin completely back over your forehead just to do work on the nose, and then one where they don't. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a little more complex than that, but I digress. That is why it takes up to an entire year for the swelling of your nose to finally go down. It's because they hammer your cartilage and like file it with a chisel. Like, you guys might be paying a plastic surgeon thousands, but my dad has the tools in the backyard to do that for you. Don't worry. No, truly buckle up because this video is rank.
RHINOPLASTY, great diagram here. We inject the nose while you're asleep, make a small incision at the columella, open up the skin, and then the scaffolding or the structural support of the nose is underneath. That's where the plastic surgeon is going to be resting, taking down the nasal bones, and a lot of other little techniques. There you go.
Little techniques.
See the hammering of the bones there. We do a lot of work on the cartilage by putting in sutures in the cartilage to find the tip and making sure everything is straight. A straight septum leads to a straight nose. Thanks for watching.
If you couldn't already tell, I'm sweating. Yeah, I'm full on sweating, dripping down my back. That is a lot of pain. I can't do it. I couldn't do it either. I got my adenoids removed when I was a kid, the only surgery I've ever been under, the only time they ever put me to sleep, and I was in pain for 2 weeks. Like, what did they even do? I ain't getting no surgery in my face, even if I think I'm ugly. You know what? Amen to that. That's on self-esteem. Though there are many stories of people that get their rhinoplasties and they are incredibly ecstatic with the results. There is a huge amount of rhinoplasty dissatisfaction. And there's a ton of reasons why this possibly might be. Some noses just don't heal the way that they're intended to, some surgeons are really aggressive with their techniques, and some girls just don't get the desired look that they were searching for at all. The stats say that it's reported that there's about 15% people that get rhinoplasties that go back in for revisions. The only issue is if you have multiple revisions of your nose job, that causes a lot of scar tissue, which the blood just can't supply to that area as easily, leading to a high risk for infection. And even tissue death. Are you kidding me? Like, I need to breathe. Like, we're playing around with fire because how are you gonna, how much? I can't. It's also crazy the amount of botched nose jobs you come across on social media, but not only that, they literally, like 90% of the show Botched is about noses. Oh God. No, I can't. What is that, Miss Piggy? What is that?
I know you're lying
yeah.
to me. From this beautiful Greek goddess to the botched central of Turkey. I don't think any plastic surgeon would agree that this looks good. And how this woman got board certified to work on people's bodies.
I don't get it.
She makes men's noses look exactly like this.
Don't.
And I just cannot believe somebody would ruin their perfectly good nose. There was literally nothing wrong with the befores. And once you get a procedure like this, you can't fix it.
No.
A surgeon can try and fix another surgeon's mistake, but you are never going to get back to what you once looked like. The whole inside of her nostril is like exposed. Look at how high up that is.
Why?
What is wrong with this nose? I genuinely believe that surgeons that go from this to this are surgeons that like mutilating other people's bodies forever.
That's savage, and honestly, a hot take. It's literally like Penelope. As a person with a naturally upturned nose, it's not great. You can see the inside of my nose like all the time. Just like anything, there's all these different styles as well of what doctors think is a good look and what they don't. But it's weird because it's really important to have a nose that suits your face individually. Even though they're saying it's about a 15% rate that people go back for revisions, it feels so much higher than that. What if you didn't like your natural nose before, you go in and get a rhinoplasty, but you hate the result afterwards even more? A girl named Talia on YouTube came out and released a video called Why My 2 Nose Jobs Weren't Worth It, and honestly, it's very difficult to watch.
But no, my mental health went way down. Talia, what did you do? What did you do? I'm really not okay. I don't want anybody to see me right now.
Imagine going in for a rhinoplasty to fix your self-esteem because you really didn't like your nose, and then you're literally stuck with a nose that you hate way more, and you're sitting there crying about it, and you don't even want to get out of the house.
I barely want to look at myself. Yes, it's been something I wanted to do for a really long time, but now I shouldn't have done it. I'm really upset with myself. Really upset. I thought this was what I wanted. I might have to wait a whole year to get a revision surgery, and I'm literally going in with a photo of my old nose. Like,
You just want to go back. You can't go back. Once you do that, you literally can't go back.
freaking stupid. Every time I see old photos of myself from like a couple months ago, I get so sad.
Oh my God.
So sad. And then I read comments. People saying they miss my face. I do too. I really do. I could have avoided all this if I just accepted my nose. It's been hard not to stare at my nose. Because when I look in the mirror, that is all I see. I don't see my eyes. This is probably the hardest thing that I've been through. I regret it. It's like you look in the mirror and like you don't fully recognize yourself. You look at old pictures.
That is so sad.
1 month at a time.
Just going through all of that and deciding to make such a jump and a decision to change your face, it is probably very uncanny valley to look back at yourself in the mirror and know that that is not how you were born. It's not how you originally looked, and it's not the face that you stared back at for the past, for me, 27 years. That's why people have such a hard time dealing with that initial result of their nose job, because it's not necessarily how it's gonna look a year after, but you have to live with that swelling and that result until you get to a year past. Like, this would have me so stressed because you're not physically seeing the instant result, which most people, when you get your nails done, you get your eyelashes done, you see that instant result, but it really is something you have to wait for. I also want to mention that you can't wear glasses for like over 3 months after, so I hope you have decent peepers or you wear contact lenses or that you don't have to go in the sun, because that would suck. Now you might be thinking to yourself, like, if I have to go in and get 2-3 nose jobs, whatever, as long as I get the perfect nose. Well, another issue with getting constant revision after revision is you have less cartilage in your nose. Having less cartilage in your nose can actually cause something called a nasal valve collapse. Now this means that like when you're breathing in, your nose actually cannot support itself and it closes in, so you can't breathe in through your nose. Like, what is the point then? What is it for?
And a nose collapse after rhinoplasty. Yes, of course it could happen if you go through the wrong person and they're just too aggressive at cutting out too much cartilage. Thankfully, again, this is a rare complication. I don't mean to scare people, but you do have to choose your surgeon carefully and make sure that they don't have overly pinched noses on their after photos. So how to get collapse is basically like, we have very thin cartilage that makes up our tip, and if it is aggressively removed and you're left with little thin strips, or sometimes even the entire thing is removed, your nostrils can kind of collapse where you can't breathe out of it. And even if you take a breath, it'll collapse even more. So you have to be very careful on who you choose. And the way we avoid collapse after rhinoplasty is using cartilage grafts or cartilage sparing techniques. For example, putting grafts along the bridge called spreader grafts, putting grafts along the nostrils called rim grafts. Sometimes you put little batten grafts or strut grafts, which kind of help open the nose like this, as if you're kind of pulling your cheeks apart.
This is an intense procedure, you guys. Like, there is a lot to it. I couldn't simply just talk about it and explain this. Like, you don't simply just explain a nose job. One of the main celebrities that has had a nose job that actually has spoken out regretting it is Bella Hadid. Bella Hadid says she regrets getting a nose job at 14. I wish I had kept the nose of my ancestors. I think I would have grown into it. Bella Hadid addresses the rumors about her appearance in plastic surgery head on for the first time, while also speaking openly about her struggles with depression and self-acceptance. Bro, imagine being Bella Hadid and struggling with depression and self-acceptance. She had the most stunning natural nose, obviously so gorgeous now, but sometimes bullying and other people's opinions can push you to make decisions you would never make in the first place. I always used to be told that my jaw was too big, my head was too massive, my face was too large, and that I should get my jaw shaved. Or I mean, even worse, buccal fat removal. I was almost bullied into getting these procedures done because I felt inferior. And at the end of the day, I'm really happy I never listened to that person, because I look at myself in the mirror and I'm happy that I never touched my face. Now, after everything that I've shared, how beautiful and incredible your natural nose is and where it actually originated from, how scary and invasive rhinoplasties can be, you guys are probably sitting there on the other side of the screen. Lael, come on, tell me how much it is. The highest bidder needs to know. I need that new nose. The average price for a rhinoplasty is anywhere from $9,000 to $25,000, depending on where you go for the surgery. Are you kidding me? And you're paying that not just once, maybe twice, maybe even 3 times? Like, for me, I'd rather buy a 2014 Ram 1500 vroom vroom, then I can get the heck away from all the beauty standards. So if we're still unhappy with our noses, what options do we have left other than getting a full-blown rhinoplasty? Well, number one for me, I would just recommend a contour. You know what I mean? A little contour wand, you know, sculpt it out, do a little painting work. Nobody will know. Mostly I'm just saying that because I'm avoiding talking about the next part. And that introduces the non-surgical nose job. A non-surgical rhinoplasty is where a nurse injector will use filler to shape your nose without any surgery involved. Now, you guys already know how I feel about fillers. I've made a lot of videos about fillers. This is just a terrible idea. Not only after you watch this video are you gonna know exactly why you shouldn't be getting any nose filler, a ton of doctors have recommended against it. We've already talked about the many complications of filler, and that if it blocks a blood vessel, a vein or an artery, it can cause something called a vascular occlusion. Vascular occlusion means that the filler is blocking the blood flow, so the blood can't properly flow to the skin, so your skin can essentially die. But this is also potentially 10 times worse. Filler around your nose can actually cause blindness.
What is one plastic surgery procedure I would never get done? Non-surgical rhinoplasty. So this is a procedure where people are trying to mimic the results of a surgical rhinoplasty without the surgery. And so what they're doing is they're injecting filler into the nose. You try to blend the augmentation of the filler with the hump so they don't look like they have a hump anymore. There's a couple reasons why I don't do it, but the main reason is that you can cause people to go blind. So there is a connection between the blood vessels in this area with the blood vessels that go to supply the eye. And even if you are careful, some of the products can go into those blood vessels, travel backwards and go into the eyeball, and that'll cause something called a retinal artery occlusion. If this happens, it's devastating. There's been very few examples of people have this happen to them where they actually regain their eyesight afterwards. So
terrifying and devastating. They never regain their vision after that, and all for cosmetic purposes. Now you might be thinking that your nose just happening to turn black and fall off sounds like kind of a random complication. Like, that doesn't happen to anybody, does it? Well, you're wrong. These videos that I'm about to show you of these poor women, it's so incredibly sad. Melissa lost half of her nose due to a non-surgical rhinoplasty.
My name is Melissa, and I lost half of my nose from a simple filler injection. My nose died, and I am trying to bring it back to life. I grew up in a Filipino family, and in our culture, there's a really large emphasis on beauty. I had a much flatter nose bridge than anyone else in my family, and that eventually started to really affect me. Fast forward to 2017, I came across non-surgical rhinoplasty, and I thought that I could finally have my nose fixed. And I went ahead and I made an appointment. The reason that I wanted to go ahead with the non-surgical rhinoplasty was because it was supposed to be a temporary thing, and the filler would eventually dissolve. Ultimately,
From the research that we've done, ladies and gentlemen, we all know that the filler does not dissolve.
I just wanted to see what I would look like with a taller nose. I felt the injections. They hurt just a little bit, but not terribly. After the injections were over, I took a look in the mirror and I thought, dang, I look good. The following night, I noticed that there were white little pustules forming. It was really scary. I decided to drive to the ER. The doctor told me that there was an occlusion, that some of the filler had blocked blood flow. And right away,
You guys, these pictures, I am sick to my stomach. Like, this is not a random complication. This actually does happen to people.
Doctor started the treatment, which involved 20 to 30 injections of hyaluronidase for 5 days, and it felt like hell.
That's so
I
painful.
slowly watched my nose die. It went from looking...
Oh my god, you guys, I can't even watch it. It makes me so sad. This girl had a seemingly innocent insecurity, something that honestly bothered her for many years. She decided to go and get a simple filler injection. It is so hard to watch this. And that is just one of the stories that is actually shown on television. Could you imagine the ones that happen worldwide? Another amazing YouTuber named Lori Hill, I'm not sure if you've ever watched her videos, but I will link this specific one down below in the description. She had a similar experience after getting a fat transplant to her nasal labial folds, these folds right here, and her nose essentially turned black and it started to die. It's a very, very sad story. Now, there are tons of circumstances where maybe you broke your nose, maybe you have a deviated septum, or you actually can't breathe properly through your nose, where I really do understand the necessity of this surgery. And hey, a ton of people say that after they get a nose job, they can breathe incredibly well. So I mean, that's kind of a plus. But this doesn't change society's issue with body dysmorphia. I think that it is actually the root to so many people's obsession with plastic surgery. Body dysmorphia is a mental disorder defined by an overwhelming preoccupation with a perceived flaw in one's physical appearance. Whether it is in regards to your body or your face, it just seems like it is at an all-time high now, knowing that we can essentially change everything about ourselves. We can so easily change our natural faces with a quick call to the nurse injector, and she can change our face from top to bottom. We become so fixated with our perceived flaws that nobody else can see, and we can't live a single waking moment without thinking about it. Even people that go to top plastic surgeons have complications and don't end up getting results that they thought that they would.
Do you know, someone said to me at the very beginning when we started surgery, he said, the more surgery you get, the more surgery you get. Yeah, the more surgery you get, the more surgery you get. Why is that? Because the more surgery you get, the more you're going to need to fix and undo all them previous fucking surgeries. I know. Oh my God, if I could just only turn back time. I know. All this money on surgery and I look like shit. Yeah. It's so sad, guys. Honestly, we can't explain it to you. If you can just tell if there's any young girls watching this, really, really think hard before you go for surgery. Is it something you really, really, really need? I ruined myself,
Yeah, I agree. I had 1 BBL and then 6 surgeries to reverse it. This isn't spoken about enough. I always thought about this. It's just like trading one insecurity for another. One thing is for certain, you can still see so many incredible people, celebrities, Instagram baddies, just people in the media that do have their natural noses, and that is so beautiful. Our faces are truly what set us apart from others, and it's what make us unique. And it's really refreshing to see people that have never touched their faces. Learning to look at yourself in the mirror and see the incredible features that you possess, knowing that nobody else has them. At the end of the day, we're just not meant to look the same.
I don't know if I'm getting old or just everybody has like Instagram face now, but like I'm really starting to understand the beauty in like your natural features, and having like, I've always wanted a nose job, and sometimes I still want a nose job, and there's no saying that I would never get a nose job because, girl, it's been an insecurity of mine forever. However, the older I get, I've grown into it for sure more, but I think in a day and age when it's so accessible to tweak every little thing, and people, there's almost like a mold for Instagram baddie face that's like the lips, the nose, that like the eyes, like, you know what I mean? Like it's almost more rare to see people with like embracing their natural beauty, and like if they have a bump in their nose, like those are things that I'm now starting to really love on people.
It's funny when you say this because a lot of us are just on social media too much, and we see too much of this Instagram baddie face and all of this perfection, when people out there are not all Instagram baddies. I hope not. Yes, the Instagram face is just so boring. Literally everyone's face is beautiful as their natural selves. No, because I honestly get so bored with Instagram face. I love unique features. Why is it so weird that we come through this whole full circle where we're like, need to get something done, gotta get something done, maybe I don't need to get something done, maybe I never needed to get something done in the first place. We just need to stop being so incredibly fixated. And I just have to mention it at the end. What about the men that go and get rhinoplasties? Hello? Unless you are a man with a absolute school bus for a nose, I do not want it. Men have to have a big nose. It is one of the hottest things ever when a guy has a huge nose. My boyfriend has a nose the size of Texas, and we all know everything's bigger in Texas. I love it. And I'm saying it right now, if you are a man watching this, you are not allowed to get a rhinoplasty, babe. Lael says no, not this. POV, you got a nose job with your boyfriend and you can see how dumb you look together.
Oh, that hurt.
I'm not laughing at that. Like, there is no way I'm doing bestie surgery with my boyfriends, because denial is a river in Egypt. Like, let's be honest. Now that the men are out of the way, I need to talk to the girlies. We need to be really honest, and I believe wholeheartedly that your face and your natural beauty is perfect exactly as it is. Each nose is so unique and so special, but I'm not stupid. I know that noses are truly a pain point for a lot of people. A nose is not like a butt or like other parts of your body. Like, if you really want to go get a BBL, you could just work out and make your bum a little bit plumper, a little bit more shapely. But the reality is you can't just go to the gym and change the bone structure of your nose. And the amount of kids that I see get bullied for their facial features, especially their nose, truly breaks my heart. Recently, I saw a comment on this TikTok and it made me so sad. What's the minimum age, please? You need to be at least 16 years old and have parental consent. What is the minimum age? That tells me that this person is very, very young. Can you get a nose job at 14? Because I am so desperate for one. And do you operate on fatter noses? Hey dear, you need to be at least 16. You are way too young. That is way too young ever to be on social media, on TikTok, looking at nose job TikTok accounts at 14, wanting to change your natural appearance. Your face isn't even your full face until you're in your 20s. You're still constantly changing and growing. In all seriousness, I think at the end of the day, before doing any sort of plastic surgery, you really just need to learn to love the skin that you're in. So many times I make these videos and it turns out that people have so many more problems the more plastic surgery they get, that they should have never done it in the first place. Maybe you need to look at pictures of your ancestors or your family to realize that you have some beautiful features from all of the people that came before you. Do you know how many people it took to make you? We also need to bring each other up and give each other compliments. Like, these bullies need to absolutely hit the road jack. We need to make having our natural faces the beauty standard, being exactly who we are the new beauty standard, because the reality is Instagram baddie face, celebrities, all of those people out there, it's not real to begin with. So how can you compare your natural beauty to things that have costed hundreds of thousands of dollars? We are not made to look like Barbie dolls. They are literally plastic figurines. And just because you see a nose on somebody else doesn't mean that it's going to necessarily look good on you. Just like Talia said in her video, we really need to make peace with our insecurities, because at the end of the day, you can't cannot change everything. And the moment that you start tweaking at one thing and the next, it is very, very hard to stop. I only make these videos because I love you. Please do everything you can to love yourself naturally. And if you are going to do any sort of procedure, make sure that you do a ton of research on the doctor. Make sure that you know everything that you're getting yourself into and let your nose heal for a year. But if it was up to me, I'd say leave your face and your perfect, beautiful, big, small, tiny, big, large, wide nose exactly as it is. Don't forget to like the video as well as subscribe and comment down below and let me know what videos you guys would like to see in the future. All of the videos I make are because you guys have asked for them, and I always want to bring you content that you guys are excited to see. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you so, so much, and I will see you very soon. Bye.